Dear students, so far we have seen fundamental aspects of electrical machine design and what are the different types of electrical engineering materials used in design in module 1, and we have discussed design of transformer in module 3. Next we shall see design of induction motor. In this model you will be studying output equation, choice of specific loadings, main dimensions of stator, design of stator slots and winding, choice of length of air gap, estimation of number of slots for squirrel cage rotor, design of rotor bars and end ring, design of slip ring rotor, and estimation of no load current and leakage reactance. Before we begin discussion on design of induction motor, let us see what are the standard symbols and notations which are used in design of induction motor. Let D be the stator bore or stator diameter in meter. L is stator core length in meter. N is actual speed in RPS. Ns is synchronous speed of machine in RPS. P number of poles. Toe pole pitch. TPH is turns per phase. Z is total number of stator conductors. IZ current in each conductor. Kw is winding factor, which is product of pitch factor and distribution factor. IPH is current per phase. EPH is induced EMF per phase. Phi is area flux per pole. B average is average flux density. Also it is referred as specific magnetic loading in case of induction motor. AC is specific electric loading and Q is kVA rating of machine. So in case of induction motor, we come across two types of loadings. One is total magnetic loading and another is total electric loading. Then what are definitions for total magnetic and electric loadings? Let us see. The total flux around the stator periphery and the air gap is called the total magnetic loading, and this is expressed as P phi. Total magnetic loading is P phi, and total electric loading is the total number of ampere conductors around the stator periphery is called electric loading, and this electric loading is expressed as product of Iz into Z. Next we have two important specific loadings. These plays very vital role in case of induction motor. One is specific magnetic loading. Then what is specific magnetic loading and how this term is defined? The average flux density over the air gap of a machine is known as specific magnetic loading. Generally, we define flux density as flux per unit area. So on same basis, here this particular specific magnetic loading B average is taken as ratio of total flux around the air gap to area of flux path at the air gap. See, from this B average is total flux around the air gap is P phi and area of flux path at the air gap is circumference pi d and L. This will give area. So from this equation, B average can be written as phi divided by tau into L, where tau is pi d by P. Then what is specific electric loading? The number of stator ampere conductors per meter of stator periphery and the air gap is known as specific electric loading. And this specific electric loading is the ratio of total stator ampere conductors to stator periphery and the air gap. And this AC is as total stator conductors are taken as product Iz into Z, and stator periphery at the air gap is nothing but circumference, and it is taken as pi d. So next we will discuss output equation of induction motor. The output of a machine can be expressed in terms of its main dimensions, specific magnetic loading, and specific electric loading and speed. The equation describing this relationship is known as output equation. And this output equation is mathematically expressed as Q equal to C naught d square L into Ns, where C naught is output coefficient and it has parameters like specific magnetic loading V average, specific electric loading AC, and winding factor Kw. Then we will discuss how to derive this particular output equation for induction motor. See, consider an M phase machine having one circuit per phase. kVA rating of machine Q is product of these three parameters like number of phases, output voltage per phase, and current per phase. Mathematically, this Q is expressed as number of phases is taken as M, output voltage per phase is EPH, and current per phase is IPH into, as Q is always expressed in terms of kVA, this whole term is multiplied by 10 to the power of minus 3 to have this Q in kVA. The terminal voltage of each phase may be taken equal to induced EMF per phase, but in case of induction motor, supply voltage and terminal voltage differ, and if we neglect drop, then we can take EPH equal to VPH. Based on that assumption, we have induced EMF per phase EPH equal to 4.44 F 5 TPH into kW. So if we substitute this EPH in equation Q, then this particular kVA equation, output equation, which is expressed in terms of Q gets modified as Q equal to M into 4.44 F5 TPH kW IPH into 10 to the power of minus 3. So as we know that Ns is synchronous speed and it is expressed as Ns equal to 120 F by P RPM. To get this value in RPS, that is in revolutions per second, divided this equation by 60. So this Ns is 2F by P, and from this frequency is F equal to P Ns divided by 2. So substituting value of this F in equation Q, then Q equal to M into 4.44. In place of F, we substitute PNS by 2, then 5 TPH IPH kW into 10 to the power minus 3. So from this equation, Q is 4.44 divided by 2 is 2.22, and taking 2 common, 2 into 1.11 gives 2.22. So therefore 1.11 kW into P5 2m TPH IPH into Ns into 10 to the power of minus 3. Just this particular equation is rearranged to express parameter in terms of specific magnetic loading and specific electric loading. Now current in each conductor Iz equal to IPH, as we have assumed only one circuit per phase at the beginning of this particular derivation. Total number of stator conductors Z is given by number of phases into 2 times turns per phase. You know Z equal to 2T, and if M is 1, then Z equal to 2 TPH, and in case of three-phase machine, value of N will be 3. In that case, Z may be 2 into 3 into TPH. Hence, total electric loading IZ into Z can be taken as Z is 2M TP and IZ is IPH. Therefore, total electric loading IZ into Z is equal to 2M TP into IPH. 2M TP into IPH. Next, we'll say Q equal to 1.11. Whatever values of specific magnetic loading and specific electric loadings are obtained, those uh, parameters are substituted in this equation Q. Hence, equation 1 becomes 1.11 kW P5 IZ into Z into NS. So this Q is nothing but 1.11 kW. P5 is nothing but total magnetic loading. IZ into Z is total electric loading and NS is synchronous speed. But uh, we know B average is P5 divided by pi dl and AC is IZ into Z divided by pi d. From this we can write P5 equal to pi dl B average and IZ into Z equal to pi d AC. So substituting these values in equation 1, Q is 1.11 kW. In place of P5 we can write pi dl B average and in place of IZ into Z is pi d AC. So after simplifying this and multiplying, we get 1.11 pi square B average AC kW into 10 to the power of minus 3, and this whole term is multiplied by d square L into ns. So pi square into 1.11 is nearly 11. Hence we can write Q equal to 11 B average AC kW into 10 to the power of minus 3, and this whole term will be multiplied by d square L into ns. So from this we can write Q equal to C naught d square L into ns, where C naught is 11 B average AC kW into 10 to the power of minus 3. So this particular equation 2 is known as output equation of AC machine, and this quantity Q naught is called the output coefficient. And from equation 2 we can write d square L, which are main dimensions of machine, equal to Q divided by C naught into ns. Then what are factors which affect size of rotating machines? As per this equation, for same output, size of machine depends upon two factors. One is synchronous speed, another is output coefficient. Okay. If designer choose higher value of synchronous speed, then product d square L will be small. Active parts of the machine. To design machine, whatever magnetic circuit is required or material which are required for design of machine in terms of mechanical dimensions, size as well as cost of machine will get reduced if value of ns is increased. At same time, this particular size of machine depends upon output coefficient also, but output coefficient in turn depends upon two factors. One is specific magnetic loading and specific electric loading. And major considerations to evolve good design are like cost, durability, reliability, and compliance with performance parameter as laid down in the standard specifications. That's why there must be a compromise between choice of specific magnetic as well as electric loading by seeing so many factors which influence performance of machine. Okay, in next video we will discuss how choice of specific magnetic and electric loadings are done, and what are advantages of going for higher values of specific magnetic loading and what are disadvantages of going for specific electric loading. Both advantage and disadvantage, okay, we'll discuss in next class. Thank you.